Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Ich warte seit Wochen auf diesen Tag und tanz vor Freude über den Asphalt. Als wär's ein Rhythmus, als gäb's ein Lied, das mich immer weiter durch die Straßen zieht. Komm dir entgegen.
Hello and welcome to Gegenpressing, the Bundesliga podcast. This is the Bundes show. I'm Manu Fed. Stefan Bienkowski is still on honeymoon. What a guy. Full week. I don't know how he does it. But that's okay, because once again, I managed to recruit an expert to talk to me about a special topic. And joining me this week, and I've been looking forward for this for a long time. We finally were able to do it. It's very generous to give us some time today. That's Farhan Devji, who I have known for quite some time, because Farhan, first of all, welcome. You used to work for the Vancouver Whitecaps when I was on the beat writing about the Whitecaps.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks a lot for having me. Like you said, we've known each other for a while. Lots of time spent in the press box at BC Place. So it's great to finally come on.
And the reason why people will be wondering, why is he bringing on a Whitecaps guy to discuss something on the Bundesliga? Well, the reason why I have you on is because you wrote Alphonso Davies, A New Hope. It's been out for a while. I think the audiobook just came out too, right? If I'm correct.
That's right. Yeah, audiobook just came out. The paperback book was published in May, so a couple months now.
Yeah, a couple months. And so if you haven't bought it yet, shame on you. Go get it. But yeah, it's a great read. And I think we have a lot to discuss around this book and around Alphonso Davies. And that's where the Bundesliga comes in, of course, because Alphonso Davies plays in the Bundesliga. He plays for Bayern Munich. He's one of their big stars, a player that they like to wheel out whenever they have any sort of content, social media content, make it available. I mean, in fact, Farhan, it was Lederhosen fitting last week.
Yeah, that's right.
And who featured, of course, Harry Kane, Thomas Müller, and Alphonso Davies.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that. He's been featured quite prominently in their marketing this year. I even noticed in preseason. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I wonder if that's a sign of things to come, but I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah, no, I think we will have to get into that. That is the future, and the present, I guess. But let's talk about your book. It's very comprehensive. You covered his entire Whitecaps career, which is incidentally also during the time that we first met, right? When he played for the Whitecaps. His transfer to Bayern, and then, of course, his rise to prominence at Bayern Munich. The question I have for you, right off the top, how challenging was it to write this?
Yeah, it was very challenging. Like, this was this is something I've been thinking about for a number of years. I actually... you mentioned the transfer to Bayern, like that was back in 2018. And that's when I first started, putting some thoughts on paper and, doing some research. I even started writing like a sample chapter and things like that. So this has been in the works for a number of years. And it was a huge challenge because, for starters, I felt a big responsibility because, as I'm sure your listeners know, he has an incredible backstory that has inspired a lot of people. So, I wanted to make sure I was doing the story justice. So I put a lot of pressure on myself there. And then obviously, as you get with, writing about a person who's still very much in the midst of their career, like his story was evolving every day. His, the way he played and his role at Bayern was evolving. Like, I'll just give you an example. Like, after I submitted my first draft of the book, like that was, after that point, he was diagnosed with myocarditis. And then Canada, qualified for the World Cup, and then he scored at the World Cup. So there were constant updates, and yeah, like I said, it became this all-consuming thing. But I'm proud of how it turned out.
Yeah, I mean, he's played such a big part. Anyone who is, you're from Vancouver, right? I live on Vancouver Island now, and he's played such a big part in soccer in this part of Canada. Of course, he's obviously from Edmonton, but he is such an icon in many ways for what Canadians can achieve, no matter what their background is. right?
For sure. And I think that's why his story has resonated so much in Canada, because, well, there's two things. There's the soccer side of it and the football side where, you know, he's a trailblazer, right? Like, we've never seen a Canadian men's footballer do the things that he's done, you know, playing for a club like Bayern Munich, winning the Champions League, and let alone doing it at such a young age. So, you know, that's a big part of it. He's just like a trailblazer in Canadian football. But then there's also like what he represents as a young refugee who, you know, who made Canada home and embraced the country. Like, I think he represents, you know, the best of what Canada has to offer in a lot of ways. So, yeah, he's definitely an icon over here.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.